Call meeting to order at 5:32. Is there any additions or deletions to our agenda?
Could you speak up, please? Details around.
Okay, sure.
None for me.
Not for me either. Oh yeah, we're gonna have the like potential language for our official statement on this.
No. You have the agenda? All right, approval of the minutes of select board meeting on 12/14.
Yeah.
These two. Could you speak up, please? Yeah, we're just trying to get organized.
Yeah, you want to post it? I'll see it.
No.
You sure? You can come in. Get your camera.
No, but you can still.
I know it's tough. But just,
If we got a PA system, it'd be a lot easier.
Fine. It's in a megaphone. It's part of the discussion time.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for 12/14. Is there a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, for 12/21.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. And 12/9, sir.
Yep. Make a motion to approve 12/9.
Second that. All in favor? Aye. Okay, those are carried. Now let's review our AP and payroll warrants.
Do you set it?
I turned it up earlier, yeah, because it was very cold. It's set at 68, so we can turn it down and turn these off.
No, that's fine.
Let it go if we want.
Yes.
It's the last payroll of the year, so that's some additional information on the year.
What?
Can you get license?
Or.
Let's move on to our treasurer's clerk report.
Thank you. This will be in future town meetings, the point at which I go through some reports from the treasurer's office, balance sheet, budget status report, budget actual, and report status of cash on hand. Right now, I have an accountant from Nemrick, which is our accounting software company, coming on Friday. She's going to spend the day with us going through a variety of our what they call modules, the different little programs that we use to track our accounting. And we're going to be going through that with a fine-tooth comb just to make sure that we're all on the same page. There's been a number of kind of accounting little mess ups and stuff that we've encountered over the last several weeks. And so I don't have accurate information right now. She's coming on Friday. She's going to spend all day with me. She was a treasurer at Rutland for many years. She's been a 30-year professional with memory. She's extremely qualified, and she's going to sit down with me and help me go through our books and make sure that everything agrees with what our bank statements tell us as well. It doesn't seem like there's much of a big issue, if any. It was just basically just debiting the wrong account, crediting the wrong account, that kind of thing. But it means that I don't have an accurate picture right now. So I will be going over those as time progresses, and you can expect this part, which will be a normal part of the agenda now for select board meetings going forward, to receive all that information on a regular basis. Absolutely. Talk about a few other things here. The assistant clerk is currently budgeted for 20 hours a week. She is also now fulfilling the role of lister, since the town no longer has an active lister. She and I are discussing the way that that's going to work out for payroll and the way that that's going to work out in terms of her hourly. It might be that she's assistant clerk 4 days a week and lister 1 day a week, which seems to be the amount of work that she sees generating. So stay tuned for developments on that, but just want to update the folks on that. In terms of other operations in the clerk's office right now, we're obviously preparing for town meeting. We've reached out to several folks for help with composing the town report. The last day that we have available to warn the town for items that are going to appear on the actual warning itself is February 2nd. So it looks as though we'll have a little bit of kind of wiggle room as long as we get the budget solidified and all our warnings solidified. We can have the town report sent to the printer. We're going to be using 802 printing again this year by mid-February, and it should be printed fine, totally fine. So we should have a finalized budget by then, obviously, and we'll be able to, moving forward, have a good town report with all the things that we know about in the town report. The clerk's office is going to implement a public records request policy in the near future as I develop that. Basically, the way that it works, a lot of other towns have this, and it's to prevent the town, this applies for townspeople, it applies for the companies that call us relentlessly for tax rates and mortgage information, tax rates and land value information and stuff like that. And it's going to allow the clerk's office to itemize and prioritize requests. There is discretion in the clerk's office to the ability of having a person fill out a public request record. Basically, the requirements, and I'm still in the process of developing them, but the requirements would be if the clerk's office is forced to generate a report, then the potential exists for the person asking for that report. If you're asking for a document that doesn't exist in our normal day-to-day records and operation, then you will be asked to pay for the clerk's time to be able to compile that report. As far as the day-to-day, normally you come in and ask for a copy of your tax bill, you want to chat about the balance sheet or the budget, you want to do this or that, that's not going to change. It's for the above and beyond requests that take time away from the clerk's schedule. And the establishment of this policy is going to be based on both Vermont cities and towns language, other cities and other city managers who I've reached out to, and other town clerks that have a policy like this as well. And I will present a draft for the select board before any policy goes in, so that there could be some comment on it as well. And again, it's just to prevent us from being overwhelmed by records requests. In terms of a few other aspects of updates pertaining to some of the issues that were raised over the course of the last several meetings, the last regular select board meeting otherwise. I finally this morning actually got answers on the Evolve program. There was nobody in Green Mountain Power apparently was around in 2016 that is still around now. So finally the answers have come through. The town of Canton, entered into the Evolve program on June 17th, 2017. That means we have a 10-year payment break program before we own the heat pumps, water heaters, and various things, and that will be June 17th, 2027. Until that time, we will continue to pay the monthly fee that we pay to Green Mountain Power, $630 a month, which will, at the end of that period of time, June 17th, 2027, allow us ownership over all the heat pumps and the extra technology that they help us purchase. Currently, Green Mountain Power provides maintenance on those devices for free. So we've been utilizing that and will continue to utilize that until the end of that program, again in 2 years. But until then, and then after that, the cost is estimated right now in today's dollars. We don't know what it's going to be in 2027, obviously. But in today's dollars, the cost, the yearly maintenance for a heat pump is $150 per heat pump per year. There are 3 heat pumps that we have, 4 in the town offices, plus 1 in the garage. So, that's $750 a year basically for the maintenance of those heat pumps. And that uses a service called We Fix Heat Pumps, which is the name of the business. They come out and do the actual heat pump maintenance. So that will be the layout for that, and we will continue to pay the monthly fee. And then it will significantly reduce the electricity bill for the town hall, which currently stands at almost $700 because of the $630 monthly payments that we have. In terms of the Area Rescue Squad, I updated the select board during budget meetings on the increase in price that the Area Rescue Squad was looking to implement. I have baked that into our budget calculations for fiscal year 26 on the recommendation of multiple other town treasurers and other officials, it's going to happen. Again, the negotiations that will be present will allow the towns hopefully 1 seat per town on the board of representation at BARS. We're really hopeful that goes forward. Ferrisburg is meeting with BARS on January 7th, 2025. My suggestion to the select board is that we arrange a meeting for you with BARS at or around the same time to be able to also participate in those negotiations and not get a foot in the door. And if that means bringing the BARS representative here, because that's what's going to happen, they're going to go to the select board meeting in Ferrisburg. That might be what has to happen.
Okay.
And let's see, I believe that's it for the clerk treasurer report, I have made several changes for the budget, which are reflected on some of the documentation that I provided the select board, and I have available for folks here as well. While this isn't specifically a budget discussion, we can, obviously there's a line item in the agenda about it. But yeah, so I believe that that's it for clerk treasurer updates for right now.
Great, thank you. And, we will meet with, our friends at, first, but that's all Wally today.
Oh, great.
And the discussion, perfect. Who's the representative, or, excuse me, for, Paris.
Thank you for all the work about this, by the way.
Yes.
So when I was looking at.
And there's some, so just to be known, the document on the face of this is the budget changes as of today. Those are changes. The changes in bold are specific. The budget itself, to save paper, I did not update the specific line items, but I will have specific updated budget at the next meeting. But these changes are
the same as last.
the budget is the same as the last one in paper, but the changes are here have been reflected in the actual working document I have downstairs. So if you wanted to look at the actual changes, there's a number of copies right here. Yeah, it's a lot of paper, so I just, those are the changes that are relevant to the discussion going forward, and obviously the next budget meeting will have a specific, updated copy. And I printed enough, hopefully, that everyone can maybe share or double up the photos. I'm happy, you want to talk about?
Yeah, why don't we go down to that and just start on this, because that's a huge amount.
Yeah, the bolded dates. So I spent a good portion of this morning talking to both Rick Butcher and the Agency of Transportation District Manager or District Technician, excuse me, the one who's in charge of grant revenue and grant funding for the town. And basically, the way he's in charge, this gentleman, his name is Jim Cota. He is in charge of 29 towns in what they call District 5. District 5 includes us. It includes most of Madison County, about northern Madison County, and then going up into like the Champlain Valley north. And what he said was that Canyon's roads are in good shape, and that we ranked what's called, so they have a ranking system. They create a ranking system. And basically, Canyon last year was ranked 29. Now, rank 29 is good to be in. It means that our roads are in good shape and we're the least necessary recipient of funding for paving. That changes every year. They give 6 to 7 grants of approximately $200,000 each to each one of the towns over the course of the year, and then everyone moves up a step. That way, there's a cyclical rotation in who gets funding. It's a fair system. They try and prioritize needs. Now, the issue is that Canton has only moved up. We were 29th last year. We're 23rd this year. 6 or 7 grants later, we'll be 15, 14. 6 or 7 grants after that, we'll be 8 or 9. So we can look for paving funding 2 years out from now, somewhere in that neighborhood, 2 to 3 years out. In the meantime, there is a significant need. Canton ranked 7th overall in terms of what they call structures funding. The structures are things like bridges, they're things like culverts, they're things like the non-road but road essential parts of the component. Canton ranks 7th in that, which means that we are very likely, my email from, I'll read you the exact language that I received from him. Here you go. A class 2 grant is not likely. Class 2 is a paving grant. Paved roads are considered class 2. A class 2 grant is not likely, depends on who does not apply ahead of us. Because if you don't apply, then you're not in the game, and so we could skip some steps. But it's not likely, as most people have been taking the money as most people need the money, most towns. You are likely to receive a structures grant this year if we apply. So I have the application downstairs. I spoke to Rick about the project that he'd be looking at. It involves 2 4-foot culverts, the replacements of which would be on West Road and Peace, not West Road and Peace Road, on Canton Road towards Whispering Pines. And also, if there is money left over in the bank, in the fund, there would be the creation of what he called an approachment bank for those culverts, basically to, create an embankment so that an excavator could work down there, so that the bank is constantly sloping away around the culvert itself. Those culverts plus the embankment would approximately, he thinks right now, and he's not gonna get an estimate until later this year, well, I should say early next year, because numbers can change and contractors are going up in price, and he wants to make sure he gets the most accurate information. Right now, his ballpark is somewhere about $175,000 to replace that, but that's not set in stone in any way, shape, or form, and he will be updating us in terms of that. This does not change the line item for paving of $100,000 that is in the budget. Currently, paving costs $125,000 per mile of road paved. That is what contractors are charging right now. Right now, the town of Addison, for instance, he spoke to the foreman in the foreman of roads in Addison. Addison is budgeting $250,000 a year for paving expenses. And the paving expenses, staying on top of them is really important, because when the state gives out a grant money, they want to see that you're in continual improvement, even if it's minuscule improvement. That helps your position, it doesn't let you slide. The state would rather see continual small improvement than having to come in and fix 10 miles or 15 miles of roads all at once. That would be a significant expense as far as they're concerned. It'd probably be beyond. I'm sorry?
How many miles?
16.
16.
Yeah.
We have
We have 10. A little bit, 10 and something. So the $100,000 in the budget that is currently laid out for paving would be approximately 0.8 of a mile. And that 0.8 of a mile would be, apologize for just a second, I gotta find a picture where I put that.
Yeah, it's from Jersey Street from Addison
Oh, yeah.
Town Line back.
Yep, Jersey Street from the Addison Town Line back into Canton, 0.8 of a mile, and that would be approximately $100,000. That is what Rick and the Agency of Transportation have identified as the highest need in terms of the paving needs for paving. And again, that helps us remain competitive in the grant funding process. And we will, of course, re-examine further grant funding and paving stuff a couple of years from now when we move a little bit higher in.
Just understand that if we lag on paving, we basically get penalized by the state for saying not keeping up with the roads. And that's what the real significance of this.
Almost seems like we're getting penalized now for that.
Well, we would move up that ladder regardless, but it would be a slower process. This Jim Coda is, he wants to be fair, he wants to be transparent, and he wants everyone to feel as though they're gonna get their turn, so to speak, in the grant funding. He has 29 towns to deal with, sometimes we're in far worse shape than Canyon, and so he wants to make sure that we are fair and equitable in our process in which the grant funding is sent out. He's more than willing to talk to folks about this. He was very generous with his time to me today, and I was glad to talk to him about it, and I will continue to delve into it and research and find any other information that is pertinent to the discussion. But as of right now, that's kind of where it stands, so that's the change. And the budget has been changed, so paving is not the item, it's now the expense item is taken on culverts, not paving.
200,000.
I'm sorry?
The 200,000 will be in this year's budget for state aid.
It will be in this year's budget.
Because I'm reading this and I was thinking that you say only for 27, I mean, year 27.
Oh, I'm sorry, for paving, yeah, the 200,000 for paving is not in this year's budget.
Right, so that's coming back down.
That is out, correct.
Okay.
But we did put 200,000 in the culvert.
Okay.
in
Oh,
culvert.
it's just a switch.
We just switched it, so the total remains the same, but the project is slightly different.
I didn't know the culvert.
Yeah, no, I apologize, I should have made that better.
That culvert is on Bank Road, it's just, it's a mess.
Yeah, and we're also very hopeful, he's again, having discussions with FEMA about the FEMA repairs, we're trying to get that done. The FEMA is going to be 2 culverts, on Keys Road and West Road, and would also be a bank, approachment bank on Canton Road, down as near the town line, where they've done that work, but they need to shore up the bank so that they don't lose that riprap and all that stuff flowing into the river. So that's gonna be a necessary component of that as well, and that's what he hopes to keep.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could explain to me, other towns are not maintaining their roads as well as we have, so therefore they're ahead of us in terms of getting this grant. How is that not being penalized for?
It's not so much that he's picking and choosing winners and losers, or who's maintaining and who's not. It's just that our high maintenance of the road has put us lower overall. Now, I understand that you think that's penalizing, but he has to maintain a fair balance way. So we will get the money, but it will just take a little bit more time.
So do we expect in the future that, like, I guess the history said, we get the same amount of money every 4 years? Do we anticipate that's gonna get stretched down maybe another 5 years or 6 years?
It could be about every 4 or 5 years. The last time that we received money, the last time that we received a roadway grant was in 2022. The last time we received a structures grant was in 2018.
Is that fiscal year or?
Yes, fiscal year. Yeah.
So it would be 4 years, 26, so it's going down 5 years.
Yeah.
It looks like the state of Vermont's having trouble keeping up and restricting it out.
Well, I mean, yeah, 29 towns divided by 6 to 7 grants per year would be 5 to 6 years. Yeah, I mean,
West. From, Keys Road all the way to the town.
yeah, and I have, he was very generous in giving me all the correct documentation now that I have to be able to track this more accurately and be on top of it, in ways that I can find.
So we're keeping 100K in the paving.
Yeah, we're keeping 100K in the bid.
Does he know like repairs and maintenance, or does he have like 8/10 of a mile he wants to?
8/10 of a mile from the Addison line back in. They're repaved, yeah. And he has photos, because agency of transportation requires it, so, basically, yeah, what he needs is, and this is like internal documentation, because it's not yet, it's part of their grade process, so it's not, this is just their internal documentation.
Yeah.
Basically, they need what they call codes and standards, which is a document that the select board signs that they're going to maintain the roads, and then a road inventory, which is another thing, that he is maintaining and has a copy of it, and it's just a process, and it's just something he constantly has done.
This structures grant, does that include paving?
No.
Where they're taking that culvert out?
Oh, yeah, of course, it's the replacement of the entire culvert in this,
And the
Yeah,
paving of?
yeah, and paving it, yeah, because the culverts are under bridges, so, you know, they need to be able to, the culverts, I think, in question
It would be a small section of paving.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but still costs money.
well, it would be a component of the grant, yes, yeah, they wouldn't do one and not the other.
Wouldn't have to dip in the paving.
Yeah, no, the paving is earmarked specifically for that project, as we discussed, which is this, fencing line. The other major change, was the dump truck loan service, and I double checked those numbers, I provided a little bit more detail, and I can speak with anyone specifically about that, either after the meeting, you can come into the office anytime. And then the retreatment, which is on the next page, is, again, just check at 100,000, because then it's going to.
I just have one comment, just to be careful of, and maybe I'm not looking at it right, but like, I'm looking at deleted line 183, town truck sold.
Yep.
Just be careful, if you go to like, you need to go to budget 183, if this sheet's going in the town report, what happens is you gotta be careful, if you delete that line, there's numbers in prior year budgets and actuals that the town needs to see, so you read that, and then your totals don't make any sense to the townspeople, and
Yeah.
start looking at it and compare. So just the rule of thumb is don't delete any line unless it has nothing to do with any of the numbers.
Yeah.
That's kind of stated.
Yeah, we'll make sure that gets included for the previous year's budget. That's great.
Thank you. Yes,
I missed the last two budget meetings, but I didn't see in the paperwork, is there an item in there for the system for the hall?
So that was a separate, what I was gonna, basically after we talked about the budget, and we can move on, there's no further issues in the budget.
nothing.
Okay, so we can move on to item number 7 on the agenda, which is town hall improvements, acoustic damping panels. And I should have included this, but I only kind of got into this today. But the addition to that is, yes, a PA system and speakers for the town hall. So Maggie, the previous clerk, reached out to an acoustic damping panel service last year. They came in with a quote that was very high. She did not want to pay that quote. I was recently contacted by that same company, who told me he found a new supplier for the material, and that if we were able to install the panels ourselves, the cost of the panels would be 50% less. So that brought it from about $5,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, down to $2,500. That also, in addition to that, the speaker, I reached out today to a consultant that had been talking, that Howard referred me to talk a little bit about speakers and microphone system for the town hall. I haven't heard back from him today, I only talked to him today, but that will be part of my future conversations to make sure that we kind of, keep on top of that. Because obviously it's very echoey, it's difficult to hear, and we want to make sure, especially at the town meeting, we might not get acoustic panels in, but we hope we can maybe do something about microphone speakers for town meeting.
And that's in the budget.
Yeah, it would be town hall, so there's money right now in the town hall improvement fund to be able to cover that, so we would be able to draw on the town hall improvement fund to be able to pay for those expenses.
I'm just a little nervous about, we really restored this building to its glory that it was initially, and putting the little tiles in there might really also kind of change the look of the building inside.
It might be worth trying to adjust the application first before we.
It's just, once you really start drilling holes into these, plaster walls and hanging these things.
He did an assessment, so the panels themselves are very light. He did an acoustical assessment that he's gonna send me probably after the holidays, and he said that you don't have to go with the whole thing. You could do a component of it, maybe just the back of the room so that the echo doesn't go back and forth, or something like that. And he'll give you the details of that acoustic study that he did.
I'm just,
Yeah, of course.
It's a thought, we take a lot of effort to keep up with this building. Make it look nice. Yes?
Yeah, I'm curious to know what these panels look like. Are they hanging from the ceiling or flat? What?
They would be mounted from the wall. They would have a small extrusion that would kick them out from the wall about 2 or 3 inches. They would be the same color as the wall. We would be able to select that.
Vertical panels?
They would be vertical, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is that the best thing to do? I mean, you can buffer sound in this room by putting a few barriers down. Anything that's gonna absorb sound waves that are bouncing off of all these hard surfaces is gonna help.
Yeah,
So necessarily, that's maybe acoustic panels are not the answer.
yeah, it might not be the answer. He's gonna send me his quote and his study, and then I'll be able to make a better recommendation and bring it before the select board to be able to
I would
decide.
try out the new system first.
Yeah, and that's probably what's gonna happen only because of timelines, and, and town meeting would be a great venue to test that. So, yeah, we'll have all that stuff brought before the select board at the earliest possible chance.
And is the private material in that project gonna be on the agenda for town meeting, if we can vote on it? If we want to spend that money on it, or if we like that idea?
Well, there's a way to get a specific item onto, you can petition to have it included on the specific warning, otherwise it would probably normally be considered an improvement to town hall, but it could be petitioned to be, and there's petition forms downstairs.
Why would we have to petition if our bill?
Well, I mean, there's a certain amount, like the installation of heat pumps or the cleaner that we use to clean the floor or something like that, there's different things that we make decisions on that aren't necessarily, that we don't need to go to the town for.
We didn't make a decision on this Maggie McCormick, and that doesn't sit well with me, because her ideas are not the end all, for the town of she was never even a resident. And
Well-
had lots of big expensive ideas that we have already paid for.
Sure, so I
I
mean,
would like to, get away from that.
any further suggestions that we have will be brought before the select board, it certainly wouldn't be done fait accompli. So, It was definitely, it's not a decision that anyone would take lightly. It's a beautiful historical building and we want to maintain it.
You and Howard are on the same page. That was his concept. He didn't want it. You and Howard are on the same page. That's what he mentioned before. He doesn't want to put up something that would affect his.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I think you should evaluate all options before you just go ahead and decide we're gonna get.
That's what I was saying. So you and Howard are on the same page.
Yeah, so we're gonna start by amplifying and see what happens, and then go from there.
Yeah, why don't they do any of this? Wacky, which-
If people have some area to help out, so you know, that's the thing go up.
Agenda item number 8, there's a request for a new community service appropriation.
Yeah.
It's from the Vermont Rural Fire Protection Program. They're requesting $200. Items like that need to go before the select board to be included on the town.
Now, these guys come to us almost every year. This is for putting up dry hydrants. We have no dry hydrants. So, yeah, so, okay. There's other street needs for these other charities. Yes.
What is this money for? As former firewood, they were pushing all these ponds.
Right.
And if you look at your water lines that exist in the town, they saw no purpose in our town having fire ponds. Because we have a full line down 22 Way.
Right.
A full line down Jersey Street. We have hydrants on Lake Street, which basically were covered for this, and I see no point in giving them.
I would agree with that. Now, knowing from my experience in being in the fire service for almost 40 years, I know like Jim says, large animal hose, and they have a lot of it, and they have, you know, they can run a ton of it with any kind of structure. So it's something I agree that they've come to us many times for this, for the money, and we've never given them money out. It's something we just don't.
We have water mains,
I know,
big time,
Yeah.
in the town, we're lucky.
yeah. I wish there was a lot more water mains and all kind of tied together.
We look at the services.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright, so, you wanna lump this?
Yes.
okay, we have some information here that we would like to read.
This is the potential language for the town of Canton's official statement regarding the solar field. Again, this is the potential language. We, the select board of the town of Canton, value the contributions of our citizens in all civic matters, and the vote held by the town recently regarding the installation of the Viridius solar project is a clear statement on the attitude of the citizens of the town. We support the feelings and clear preference of the town in this regard. It is incumbent upon us as public officials to investigate all options for the town, and while we recognize the perception of the use of funds from Viridius to hire legal counsel or engineering firms, our agreement with Viridius makes it clear that we are not beholden to a specific choice of legal or engineering expertise, and in fact will be compensated regardless of our position or findings by said experts. It is in the best interests of the town, both professionally and financially, to gather the greatest information possible on this issue, and do so in a financially sound manner. Additionally, as conversations between the town of Canton and their legal representative could be used against us in further negotiation and work with Viridius, it would be a considerable disadvantage to hold these discussions in a public forum. We value transparency and will make sure to report any important updates to the public, but need to weigh that against the damage that could result from our strategies and tactics being made public. We will continue to uphold the will of the town in regards to this project and make the voice of the people known to all those who we hire to represent the town of Canton.
I would like to make a motion to support the voters' selection on not supporting the solar field in the town of Canton. Is there a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, everybody was a yea.
So, Teresa, I guess I was just confused, I mean, talking about the legal, what was the problem that continued? What does that mean? Originally, I think Curtis was paying our legal expenses, but we had to be in line for them, so is that different?
No, we don't have to do mine.
We don't.
No.
Basically, Veritas gave us $25,000. We hired our attorney before we received any of their money. And we hired our attorney, and that whole point is, they do that, solar companies do that, we did that with Green Mountain Power, they covered our attorney's fees. They built the solar field over here, so these towns don't get overwhelmed when they go to the PUC. It's also good for them to show good faith that they're actually bargaining with these towns in some way somehow. So they can't tell us how they do it, how to spend, what attorneys we use.
So will they continue to fund or will they not?
They will continue, they will, until up to the 25,000, and once that's out, doesn't, they'll probably not. I don't know. That's my assumption. Okay,
So that statement will be in the minutes.
it will be in the minutes and it will be on the website, yes.
I just like to thank you for explaining why you go to regulation.
Yeah, yeah, we just have to work hard to go start tests, basically. All right,
Okay,
do we have any more select board updates?
No,
public comment? Okay,
Wait, I have these are
Yeah.
the articles that, now that you guys already made a statement, it's kind of irrelevant, but, last actual, select board meeting, I was told that I was writing hearsay, which I'm not. Here's the articles where the statements were made about supporting the public vote on the, solar fields, and also the town minutes. It was interesting, I was not writing hearsay, I was, stating that. I just wanted to that.
make sure.
I will say in public comment here, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah and a Happy New Year. So thank you for everybody participating in our form of our little town of democracy.
Yes.
And
Will we see another budget meeting, or how is that all done?
Yeah, there'll be one more budget meeting probably at, between now and. Yeah, well, not between now and first, no.
sometime after.
We have a little
more.
there will be warned and noticed like everything else. We have a little bit of breathing room because the warning for the town report does, the warning for the town meeting doesn't have to happen until February 2nd. So we have some breathing room on that. So we'll make sure to have maybe one, probably two, somewhere in that neighborhood. Second. The first Wednesday, and then second, third, fourth of January. And one to a Saturday. That's like,
Yeah.
I'm open for Saturday, or I can do evening. Open to us for you. Okay, so what do you think? So our select boards are on the 13th and the 27th. So, find out, we can meet on the, I was thinking meet on the 6th or the 20th.
I will make it 6. I don't want to be under the pressure.
So we meet on the 6th, which is, that makes sense? Yeah, do that? Will that work for you?
yeah.
Okay, so January 6th at 5:30. It's a Monday. It just keeps us in Monday, that Monday rotation.
Did everyone catch that? Okay. Monday, January 6th is the next budget meeting. it will be warned and posted. Also, and this was an excellent suggestion by Sharon last, couple meetings ago, town warnings are gonna be posted at, BJ's as well. So they're all posted now at BJ's, Hoffman Road, outside the town garage, and outside town hall. Thank you very much for the suggestion. Brock, more than happy to come.
All right, that
Oh,
brings
no,
up.
they posted on Jackson Road.
Sorry, Jackson Road, yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah, well, I thankfully done it,
It's
because
your road.
well, because it's kind of underway, so you can get there anyway, so thank you. Screwing, I haven't up there yet, so I appreciate it.
All right, this ends our regular session of the select board meeting, and we'll be moving shortly into executive session. To talk about legal matters.
Catch up on that. I just wanted to verify that. Of course, these are next month. If you want to just-
I will have it available. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, that's my opinion. How? You have to read that.
Thank you so much.
You guys can, yeah, you can leave the chairs, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Yeah, nice. Sure. Oh, shit. Just go to the stop.
So in the executive session, we made a decision to not not negotiate with Beardus until the 45-day plan is filed.
Correct. Just to reaffirm that, we will all say, yea or nay on that motion, or not statement. I would say yea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to, close,
Motion to adjourn, sure.
Yes.
second, by Zach, all in favor? Aye. Happy Christmas,
Happy Christmas,
everyone.
everybody. Happy New Year.
Done?
I'm back
Yeah.
from tan, and I won't feel bad about it.
Yeah, don't get sick before you plan.
Oh, wow.
Sneezing, extra jackets. She's Christmas.
Christmas Day.
Then what we do-
Yes.
Christmas action this morning.